Welcome to the 121st episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
So damn paranormal.
My name is Jason Knight, host of the show, and with me is
Oscar Spectir,
producer extraordinaire and podcast co-host. Also joining us this evening is the one and only
Lexi Raven.
with the hands under the chin. I love it.
As always.
Welcome to the show, Lexi.
You know that episode 121 is a palindrome?
Episode 120. 121 is a palindrome, isn't it?
We should do an entire show in palindrome.
Oh. For Patreon. Let's do it.
I don't know how we do it.
I don't know
how
either.
Hard that is?
Just the entire script.
Do you know how hard that is?
We try to tell a story with palindrome.
Wait, what?
Yeah. All the words have to be palindromes in the story.
You know how hard that is?
Yes. But that's what patrons pay for, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess. I guess. Thanks for the money. Yeah, anyway, you were saying.
No, just so what's been up with you guys over the last 2 weeks?
Nothing much. Yeah, right. So we were on forced quarantine from our jobs, and they paid us, so that's fine.
You were quarantined?
Well, forced to not work, I mean.
I had no idea.
Yeah, for like 10 days for me, and Lexi's 2 weeks are coming up tomorrow. I think the last day is tomorrow.
What happened?
Well, one of we work in like blocks of people essentially. Like, you know, I work with the same 3 people always for the reason, you know, in case someone gets sick, we know exactly who that person always has worked with, as opposed to infecting the entire store or whatever.
Oh.
So one of the persons in my block just got like a normal sick thing. She's fine. Everyone's fine. 100%. It was just like a normal thing. But of course, any kind of symptoms, we have to be quarantined. You know. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Same for you, Lexi?
Yeah.
I live with Oscar.
And so because she lives with me, she can't. Right.
What strange times we live in, man.
Mm-hmm.
6 months ago, you could cough on someone's cheeseburger and no one would even fucking care.
Yeah.
Now someone comes down with the sniffles and you're quarantined for 2 weeks. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm. It was so bad that, I mean, I didn't know that I'm the only one who likes to close my store. So they were closing earlier since I've been gone.
Oh, because they can't do it properly without you?
Well, they can't. Well, no one wants to do it. It's not like no one can't. It's just that no one wants to or can't or is able to or doesn't have a schedule for it. I don't know what. But yeah. No one.
Wow, it's amazing.
No one wanted to do it, so we're closing at 4 p.m. instead of 9.
4? That's 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, potentially. Yeah.
Does corporate know this?
I assume they do. Yeah, of course. It wasn't up to me. I didn't know this was happening until I came back day before yesterday. And and they're like, why are we? I was like, why am I closing at 4? What's going on? Like, we have been closing at 4 since you left. I'm like, what the hell are you guys? And I was just like saying, like, why the hell can no one close this fucking store?
Wow.
Yeah, true story.
Crazy. So you guys have been on quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So not much happening, I'm assuming?
No. I mean, not like, I would say, though, that I've gone, in a good way, of course, I've been getting very comfortable living with Lexi here. It's like a new stage of like...
I played video games for 15 hours straight yesterday.
She did.
Holy shit.
She did, Jay. I was there. I saw it. I played for like a total of like 3 hours in and out with her, like throughout the day, because I was like doing other things, like research for the show, and I was watching something else, or I was cooking, or I was cleaning. I was doing other things. It was a whole day.
You were cooking and cleaning while Lexi was playing video games.
I wasn't cooking for her. I made her a quesadilla though. But I mainly
couldn't leave.
She just fucking.
Food.
I was just watching her. I'm like, what? It's the same clothes as yesterday. I'm like watching her. I'm like, what are you?
Have you showered? Lexi, what game were you playing?
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we both play Don't Starve. I regret showing her the game. I regret showing her the game. It's a very addicting game, though. I will say, though, but it requires 100% attention, Jay. You can't look away or you'll die in the game. It's just everything can kill you in that game. Everything, the air, the light, the weather, everything kills you in that game, and you have to constantly eat something and keep your sanity going. It's called Don't Starve, but it's like an open world thing. And it's very, very awesome. We play together all the time. Obviously, she played a marathon's version yesterday.
Did you stop to go potty? No?
Maybe once or twice.
Girl, that's not healthy.
It was 15 hours. I didn't need to go.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the kids tried to get me to play Fortnite the other day.
Oh, yeah? How was that?
I died in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, I bet.
That game sucks.
Because you died in 2 seconds?
Agreed.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the only reason. I'm sure it's
That's how my Fortnite experience has been, too.
Yeah. I'm dead in 2 seconds. The kids are making fun of me, so I take their allowance away. ground them.
Well, you're lucky that Fortnite is a free game.
Yeah, exactly.
A free-to-play game. I guess they were lucky for that. You just gotta learn how the game works, and I'm sure you'll love it. I mean, a lot of people have tried to get me into that game, and I just never done it. I haven't even seen gameplay. It looks like I've seen a little bit, I guess, and it looks like you just build as you go or something. It looks very strange to me.
Yeah, it's something. It's not. It's the remote. It's like I have to have 4 thumbs, 3 trigger fingers, have my fingers be dislocated so I could work them all and reach around the remote and press buttons and maneuver joysticks.
But Jay, if you learn how to do that, you can then use it for other things. Yeah, I'm just saying.
This is not that kind of show.
No, it's not that kind of show, but you reminded me of that. So what you got? Yeah, I never played it, so I don't know.
Well, for me, it's last 2 weeks back to work.
Yep.
It's been
how's that?
Insane. There were so many cobwebs I had to shake out from my mind. Being on furlough for over 90 days, I didn't realize how much I forgot. And I work in many different systems, software programs for what I do, and I just forgot how to navigate them, how to log in. It's been so hectic. It's good. I'm happy to be back to work, but while I was on furlough, my entire position kind of changed and morphed, and things were added and taken away. And of course, they just expect you to know this coming back, which of course I didn't. So it's been, just sitting at my computer for literally 8 or 9 hours, Monday through Friday, barely coming out of my office, which kind of really put me at a disadvantage for this particular episode. Oscar, you did fantastic work for this episode. I couldn't get it together.
You haven't heard it yet, so you don't know how.
I just know the length that you put together for the script you put together for this show. It's incredible.
It's way longer than I thought it was going to be.
And I was really stressed out, and I want to give a shout out also to a very loyal listener we have, a wonderful woman from California. Her name is Chloe. Hi, Chloe.
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know.
Why don't you just go, hi, Chloe? Isn't that better?
Yeah, that was good.
It was just as arbitrary as your voice.
Hi, Chloe. No, she, we talk back and forth on Instagram, and she's helped research other shows in the past for us, but she's going through some pretty heavy stuff in her life, and when she found out that I was really under the gun and really having a hard time finding time to get this episode together like I normally do, she's like, I'm in. Tell me what you need. Put all her own personal stuff aside and just help me research and better understand this topic at hand. Yeah. So she's from California. Her name's Chloe. I want all the listeners to know about her. She's fantastic. She's helped the show in the past, and it looks like she's going to continue helping the show into the future. I knew she's kind of a right fit when we started chatting. And she's like, I'm an accountant by day, but my dream is just to be bathed in the occult. That was her phrase, bathed in the occult. I'm like, oh, this is the one. Because I don't let any cook into my kitchen. You know that.
In general, yes. It took me a long time to even do that myself.
A long time to even get to the front door.
Right.
Get alone to the inner sanctum, the kitchen.
Right.
So I knew she was the right one, and she really came through for us, for me, for this particular episode. And I have her working on something else right now. So a big, warm Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast. Welcome to Chloe from California. We love you. Yeah. So
thanks, Chloe.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's what's been going on with me. Nothing too exciting. I'm still.
I wonder if she's seen her Namesake movie. We all have a Namesake movie.
Oh, I do for sure. Yeah.
What's your Namesake?
Oh, movie? Friday the 13th.
No, see, it's called Friday the 13th. It's gonna have your name in it. So I would say what? Jason Goes to Hell might be yours.
Boom. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Jason Voorhees, and then he capacity. That's who it is. That's
it has to be in the title, though. It has to be in the title. So the first 3 or 4 won't count. But yeah, I would say Jason Goes to Hell is a good one, or Jason Goes to New York, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Right. Chloe, the namesake Chloe, it's a really good movie. Check it out.
Really?
Yeah, it's a very good movie.
A quick synopsis, like.
It's about a call girl named Chloe who gets. What? What? Okay. What? I'm just giving you the premise. There's no. I'm not. No.
So there's this fucking hooker. Her name's Chloe. Oh my god.
I didn't say the W word. So no. Okay. So it's.
Sorry.
Chloe's the name of the call girl in the movie, but it's not about her necessarily. It's about a woman, an older woman, Julianne Moore's character, who hires her to like seduce the husband to see if the husband would cheat on her.
Oh.
And the husband's played by Liam Neeson, and the call girl's played by what's her name? She's in Mamma Mia, the main girl. What's her name?
Shit, I don't know.
Fuck. Little Red Riding Hood. Tons of movies.
Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah, she played a Red Riding Hood movie version. I don't remember. Not the main one or anything.
That's not Wednesday Addams, is it? The one that played the new
Christina Ricci? No, it's not.
Christina Ricci, yeah, no.
It's not Christina Ricci. It's it's in the tip of my brain. But whatever, keep talking. It's fine. I'll find it.
Okay, so Chloe has to watch Chloe. There we go. Let us know what you think, Chloe. All right. Contact information. Huh? Is it that time? Keep the intro short.
Amanda Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried. I tried to fill the time there.
She's a good actor. She's in Twin Peaks too.
Okay, I know who she is. And you're right. Anyway. She did Little Red Riding Hood. That's right.
Yeah, right.
The easiest way to get a hold of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast is by
through Morse code.
Visiting our website, Oscar.
No.
Lexi, do you know our website address?
www.chicagoghostspodcast.com?
It's not plural. It was very close.
Chicago Ghost.
ChicagoGhostPodcast.com. That's right.
There's a competition website called ChicagoGhostPodcast.com.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I'll fucking kill him.
Chicago. I'm just kidding.
From ChicagoGhostPodcast.com. God damn it.
Nice. I fucked them up, guys. You're welcome.
You can get to all of our social platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and, of course, Patreon. If you haven't already, join the Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast Patreon by going to patreon.com/Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast, or by clicking the Patreon icon on our website. It'll take you right to us. And for just $5 a month, you get access to Patreon-only content. That's content that will not appear at any time in our social media platforms or in the regular podcast feed. So what do you say? Go ahead and support your favorite podcast. You can call area code 872-529-0767.
Wait a second. If you write these things backwards in a mirror, apparently Jay comes to your house and fucks with you. Did you know that?
I do. Not if I have to take a plane.
Now, if it's in blood, though, Jay comes back, but his skin is inside out, so it fucks him up.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah, it's kind of hot.
If you live outside of driving range, you're safe. Because I'm not flying to come get your ass.
You're not flying. No, you just appear, Jay. The whole point is you just appear in the bathroom,
Oh.
Materialize.
It might happen. Chicago area code 872-529-0767. Call us. Leave us a text. We'll read them and play them on the show. And speaking of, in the last episode, our little skit about our phone number, the democratic, bureaucratic, red tape bullshit phone number that we have, apparently worked, Oscar.
Apparently it worked. What happened?
We got a voicemail from a very loyal listener, a brother of the show, Jeremy Zona ZJ. He also joined our Antrim live watch a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy left us a lovely voicemail, so if we could play that right now.
Hey guys, it's your buddy from Arizona, Jeremy, or Zona ZJ. I just wanted to say thank you guys for the awesome shows. You guys help us more than you know. I'm still working at home, and I'm on my last week in my current job. I'll be moving to something new where I'll still be at home, but the shows definitely help keep me from going crazy. I've been around since the Mandela Effect episode. I got hooked then. I loved the CERN episode. and the serial killer web is great. All the episodes really, they're just awesome, and definitely always learning something new. Keep up the great work, and if you ever make it out this way, let me know. We'll try to get something together out here, or at the very least, I can put a list of things together for you guys to check out. Have a good one. So damn paranormal.
And I just did.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
And Jeremy, thank you very much for the kind voicemail. Glad we could keep you entertained while you were at home working hard. I think we're hardly working.
Sorry.
I think we're going to keep the intro kind of short. That this might be a record for us, kind of a short intro. I think. I don't have a timestamp. It just feels.
What more bullshit do we usually tack on that makes it a long one?
I just feel like we have more going on in our lives normally.
But there have been many weeks where we have long intros and we don't have anything with our lives, and we still manage to talk our own ears off. So
we do. Yeah. That's when people are reaching for that 30-second skip ahead on their
right.
On their
but also,
phones.
It's what makes us work as a podcast. Arguably, it's the chemistry. That's how you pronounce it, guys. Chemistry.
Chemistry. Yes.
Right. So, yeah. I don't know. Quinkydink. Okay.
I don't know. Lexi, she's kind of quiet. Do you have anything to say?
Hi.
So damn paranormal.
So that's it. It would be funny if she just breaks
This isn't scripted.
Did you guys hear Jeremy at the end? He said, "So damn paranormal." I thought that was awesome.
You know, the magic of editing implies that I have not heard this voicemail yet, Jay.
Oh, sure you have.
No.
You're breaking the fourth wall.
I'm breaking the fourth wall. I don't like constantly playing into the facade that I know what the fuck we heard because I didn't hear the voicemail yet.
You know what I was listening to the other day?
Yeah.
The episode we did on Zach and Addie from New Orleans.
Yes.
And we were recording here at my house, and Katie broke the fourth wall really hard. When I'm like, yeah, the candles are lit. She's like, no, it's not. The lights are low. What are you talking about?
But the way she said it, though, she's like, wait a second, the candle's not lit. She was fooled every time, too. Every time she heard us on her phone, she thought we lit a candle.
And we usually do, like almost like 95% of the time it's lit.
But I'm just saying, it's like she was also like betrayed when she said that to herself. Like she was disappointed. Like, wait a second, there's no candle, Jay. That was really funny. The way she said that was really funny.
So that you reminded me of that.
Hey, if you guys noticed, she hasn't been on the show since.
No, she hasn't. You're right.
I mean, that clearly looks like by design, Jay.
I destroyed her. I destroyed my wife.
You're like, you're never coming on the show again. Ever.
Oh, God. All right. Oh, Lexi, she's making these crazy designs with her hair, her COVID hair.
I'm telling you, we should have done video on this one.
Yeah, we're not rolling video.
No.
All right, let's take a break.
Yeah, let's do it.
Listeners, welcome back to the show. Well, the lights are turned down low.
No.
The ceremonial candle is lit. And the drinks are flowing. Let's start this show. So, tonight's episode it's a special episode.
Oh.
I could not admittedly get it together for this release.
You're busy, man. No lives.
Yeah, and I was putting a lot of stress on myself. I was freaking out, and Oscar stepped up and said, "You know what? Take the backseat on this one. You're always doing the heavy lifting. Let me spearhead this show. Let me do all the research. Let me run the show." This is something he's been wanting to do for a long time. Is take a topic and just run with it.
Yes,
and have me sort of play his role.
How's it feel, huh?
Throughout the show, right?
Now you tasted my mutton. How'd you like it?
Sorry. Where I'm kind of experiencing all of the research as it's unfolding and yes. sort of responding to it.
Yes.
So it's the show is special in that case. Where this is Oscar's brainchild, and tonight we're going to be talking about the ultra weird phenomenon of coincidence and synchronicity. Something I think we all have experienced. at one point or another.
Yes.
Right, Oscar?
I think it was one of those universal things what we all have in common. We all breathe the same way. We all, share their similar dreams about our future. We all want the best for our children, and we all experience coincidence.
Yes.
It's a connecting thing that everyone has.
Yeah. And throughout this episode, we'll be peppering in real stories, right, of coincidences.
Well, don't spoil it, but yes.
Coincidence I don't know. Coincidences.
Coincidence, yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be sick of that word by the end of the show.
But it's a freaky experience. And when it happens, it stops you dead in your tracks. And it really makes you question the universe. Right?
Yeah, at least sometimes it does.
So what do you have for us?
You ready for me to start? All right.
I'm ready. Lexi, you ready?
I am ready, yes.
All right. It is 25 pages. Bear with me.
25 page. Good job, Oscar, man.
Thank you. I feel like Jay when I read the page. Oh my God. That's how Jay feels.
You get this feeling of accomplishment when it's all done. You really do.
Yes, you really do. Really do. You make it, you like all those broken sweats, right? Feel better.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. What are we, if not creatures born out of sheer randomness caused by an unquantifiable series of events that led to our existence? What do you call it when you and another person think and say the same thing at the same time? What is happening when you say that it might rain just when the first drop hits your skin? What's it called when that certain low-cut floral outfit that your current partner had when you first met attracted you because of some forgotten memory of a gentle or sexy neighbor in that same floral arrangement that lived next door to you 10 years ago? If you said fate, you'd be wrong. Today, we're here to discuss something far more elusive and surprising in its Twilight Zone tendencies. It's fate's evil sister, coincidence. And to quote a popular and yet tacky staple of a certain type of wedding speech, Webster's dictionary defines coincidence as the occurrence of events that happen at the same time by accident, but seem to have some connection, resulting in things like, that's the girl of my dreams, or get out of my head, or jinx, jinx, you owe me a Coke. Right?
That's right.
Well, the definition is apt, but also says something mysterious. For one, how can you define a set occurrence as something happening by accident? Can you prove something to be an accident? Or is it the lack of proof that something is intentional, therefore proof that it is coincidence? Furthermore, say that something did indeed occur accidentally. How can it not be a connection or just seem like it? Does one have to prove connection, either on a cosmic scale or human involvement? Or does it have to be disproved in order to call it either fate or coincidence? Or, worse yet, is it decided by the parties concerned on a whim, seemingly coincidentally from person to person, mood to mood? You might wonder if coincidence is a suitable topic for a supernatural podcast. I believe that coincidences and its nature to humans are supernatural events or phenomena. I, Oscar, do. As we progress on today's show, you will hear fate's beautifully misshapen voice when we get to certain areas, especially Lexi's. But just like one of the staples here at the SOS, you're going to have to make up your own mind. I'm going to start with a story. This story is as follows. Quote. The tale told at a 1961 awards dinner for the American Association of Forensic Science by Dr. John Harper, president of the association, began with a simple suicide attempt. 17-year-old Sidney Behringer in the city of Los Angeles on March 23, 1958. The coroner ruled that the unsuccessful suicide had suddenly become a successful homicide. To explain, the suicide was confirmed by a note in the right hip pocket of Sidney Behringer. At the same time, young Behringer stood on the ledge of the 9th-story building. An argument swelled 3 stories below. The neighbors heard, as they usually did, the arguing of the tenants, and it was not uncommon for them to threaten each other with a shotgun or one of the many handguns kept in the house. And when the shotgun accidentally went off, Sidney just happened to pass by.
Oh.
Added to this, the 2 tenants turned out to be Faye and Arthur Behringer, Sidney's mother and father. When confronted with the charge, which took some figuring out for the officers at the scene of the crime, Faye Barringer swore that she did not know the gun was loaded. A young boy who lived in the building, sometimes a visitor and a friend to Sidney Barringer, said that he had seen 6 days prior the loading of the shotgun. It seems that all of the arguing and the fighting and the violence was too much for Sidney Barringer. And knowing his mother and father's tendency to fight, he decided to do something. Sidney Barringer jumps from the 9th floor rooftop. His parents argue 3 stories below. Her accidental shotgun blast hits Sidney in the stomach as he passes the arguing 6th floor window.
Oh my God.
He is killed instantly, but continues to fall, of course, only to find 5 stories below a safety net installed 3 days prior for a set of window washers that would have broken his fall and saved his life if not for the hole in his stomach.
Holy shit.
So Faye Barringer was charged with the murder of her son, and Sidney Barringer noted as an accomplice to his own death. Unquote.
An accomplice to his own death.
Now wild?
Wow. I don't know what to say. So he would have lived.
Right. Accidentally lived because he wanted to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes a little bit to wrap your mind around it when you think about it. Like, yeah, that's weird. That's something. Now that is a quote from a portion of the opening monologue of Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia from 1999. The film's premise and stories it weaves about people connecting in mysterious ways would probably disagree with tonight's topic, but that's all part of the mystery. And I will say, a side note here, that the story is true. The stories said in the opening monologue are all true, actually. There's like 4 or 5. And that one, from what I could read, did happen exactly that way. Really weird. What are some common occurrences, you might ask? Well, firstly, everyone experiences them. And when you ask most people, coincidences by and large are small and easily forgotten occurrences of their daily lives. That's what Sir David John Spiegelhalter found out when doing work on coincidences. Spiegelhalter, I'm going to butcher his name every time. Spiegelhalter is a British statistician and Winton Professor of the Public Understanding of Risk in the Statistical Laboratory at Cambridge University. Whew.
Wow.
His work goes beyond just studying the math of coincidence that I won't go into here, but his credentials run high. In 2012, for example, he hosted a BBC documentary titled Tales You Win, The Science of Chance, as well as he did a lecture on something titled How to Spot a Shabby Statistic. So he knows his shit, is basically what I'm saying. Spiegelhalter managed to collect 4,470 coincidences during his research. A solid 58% of the coincidences included words related to family or loved ones, which indicated that a person is more likely to notice coincidences involving people closest to them. We're going to get into some math here a little bit. The 5 most common types of coincidences in this analysis at Cambridge University are: 1. Sharing a birthday with someone, 11%. 2. Connections involving books, TV, radio, or the news, 10%. 3. Vacation-related coincidences, 6.1%. I'll explain that in a bit. 4. Meeting people while walking around or airports or public transportation, 6%. And 5. Coincidences related to marriage or in-laws, 5.3%. This is from a Science article. Quote, Spiegelhalter is a statistician who believes that coincidences are best understood as interesting examples of the laws of probability at work. For example, the probability of 2 people having the same birthday is 1 in 365, right? Which means that if you tell 365 people when your birthday is, you are very likely to find at least one person who shares the same birthday. Okay. Vacation-related coincidences tend to involve unexpectedly running into someone you know. Since you probably know a great many people, and you are part of a specific socioeconomic group that is likely to take vacations in the same places, the probability of running into someone you know is also fairly high. Unquote. That's and this is another thing here. Is this source from the Atlantic, and a map made by an analytics company called Quid, like quid pro quo. They used Spiegelhalter's research to create a diagram of a person's brain relating to coincidences. Check out the map on the show notes. I know I haven't sent it to you, Jay, but I will. They're filled with dots and color coordinated. Each dot represents one story, and the lines connect stories that have strong linguistic similarities. For example, the light blue birthday cluster is tightly snarled because there are only so many variations on finding out you share the same birthday as someone else. The red cluster, however, which is shared death dates, has some connections to the birthday cluster, indicating that some coincidences involve both birth dates and death dates. Check it out for yourself. And also, a survey was done asking participants to rate the frequency of common coincidences. The top 4 are as follows. I think of a question only to have it answered by an external source before I can ask it, like TV or radio.
Oh, yes.
Right? Everyone can relate to that one. I think of an idea and hear or see it on the radio, TV, or internet. Another one. I think of calling someone only to have that person unexpectedly call me.
All the time.
Right? And 4. I advance in my work/career/education by being in the right place at the right time. And just for kicks, I have 2 more here that I thought were kind of more common for me. Another one. I run into a friend in an out-of-the-way place. And lastly, I experience strong emotions or physical sensations that were simultaneously experienced at a distance by someone I love.
I have had that happen.
Lexi and I go through this all the time.
Me and Joe Erie are connected that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we will constantly say to each other, like, or we will text each other that moment sometimes. Lexi and I are like, did you feel something? Like, yes, I did. I stubbed my toe, or something like that. It's kind of interesting. Staying roughly in the same lane here, let's talk about a Slate article titled Shrinking the World. It was written by Joseph Mazur, who wrote a book titled Fluke, which is about the frequency of coincidence stories. In the article, he gives us his thoughts on coincidences and their probabilities, as well as 4 different stories. I want to discuss one of them here. Quote, during one of my radio book tours interviews, a caller told a story involving a fluke of precise timing. Near his childhood home in Omaha, Nebraska, is a great oak tree with one fat limb protruding almost perpendicularly from its trunk. For many years, a rope swing hung from that limb. One day, he and his girlfriend were swinging together. He felt a short tremor and heard a snap, cracking sound that made him worry that the heavy branch would soon fall. It didn't, but he never swung from that tree again. Once a year, he would return to visit his parents in Omaha and pass that tree. On an unusually afternoon, 40 years after that last swinging moment, he once again returned home. The swing was long gone, only the remains of a rotten rope, tattered remains. He passed that oak, looked up, and saw a crack widen just before the limb came crashing down. I just looked at the tree, didn't touch it. I bet you can't tell me the odds of that, he declared. Unquote. Here's how Joseph Mazur approached the story. He considered all of the time intervals in all of those 40 years when the storyteller did not visit the tree, meaning the times the branch did not fall. Suppose that the branch came down in a 10-minute interval surrounding his visit. There are 2,102,400 10-minute intervals in 40 years. So the odds are 2,102,399 to 1 against, obviously, which Mazur described better than a royal flush of spades. Mm-hmm. And now I have a personal story for you. This is my thing. This story is what got me interested in doing this very show for you tonight. And I'll start with a question. Have you ever received calls from telemarketers, robocalls, tech support scams, IRS impersonation scams? Of course we have.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
This coincidence involves technology. You see, I am a T-Mobile carrier, and in 2017, they released their free and updated protection services to all phone devices to identify, alert, and block scam calls. The service comes in layers, and the particular layer my story addresses is something called Scam Likely. Quote, the first service is called Scam ID, which identifies potential scam calls by cross-referencing the number with a database of potentially fraudulent ones. This tag is applied on the carrier side of things, meaning you don't have to worry about downloading any special software to your phone and will work regardless of the type of phone you have, assuming it has caller ID. The calls will still come through on your device, but you can decide whether to accept the call based on the actual phone number or deny it. While this anti-scam feature works most of the time, it is still possible that a legitimate call would get tagged with the scam likely marker. So having the option to still receive calls with this tag, especially if you are expecting one from a number not saved in your address book, is a good thing to have, unquote. That's one article that's talking about why people were like, hey, what's with this weird scam likely thing?
Okay.
So now you understand this global tech company doing their part, I hope, to take the pressure off of bad phone calls. Here's the thing. I was doing Scam Likely at least 2 years before, in 2015. I'll get to what I mean. In 2015, I must have received what felt like 20,000 calls from strange numbers that I'd sometimes answer only to find out that they were scam calls or people trying to sell me shit. It was very irritating every fucking day. So each time I would see a similar number, I associated it as like a scam call. I would create a contact and I personally named it Scam Likely. Exactly those words.
Oh.
Why did I choose those words like that? Well, I thought it was clever enough so the name never looked like an actual contact, and to differentiate between other services like through T-Mobile or Apple as to how they name their block scam protection stuff. However, that's not really the interesting part of the story yet. Cut to a year later, before T-Mobile's release of their Scam Likely around 2016. Now, I work for Starbucks, as many of you guys know, and there are quite a bit of regulars that come in every day, and you get to know them a little. One of the precious few that I would consider to be a friend is named Mike. One day in 2016, Mike came in for his usual and to shoot the shit as always. In the middle of making his drink, I received a phone call. And while we're not supposed to have our phones out, I pulled mine and see who was calling. I said something like, oh, it's Scam Likely again, or something like that. And Mike, surprised, asked, what the fuck did you say? I explained the many scam calls and how I named them. Mike asked me follow-ups I didn't expect. He would ask that I repeat the name and that I gave the scammers. He would ask when I started doing this. He asked my phone carrier, and so on and so on. Then, as you might have guessed by now, he busted out his phone, showed me a few Scam Likely calls he'd received that week. He thought of the exact same thing I did, to rename calls he knew to be scams as Scam Likely for the very same reason I did mine, meaning a different but clear enough name that you know to be a scam call. We still talk about the T-Mobile service and compare Scam Likely call logs and marvel at the coincidence.
And this was way before T-Mobile came out with theirs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, man. What are the chances?
I don't know. I felt like, honestly, like T-Mobile took my name and used it for the name for their program. I don't know how they would. I'm not saying, but I mean, I don't know. That's how I felt because I thought it was an original thing.
That's a pretty blatant coincidence. That's for sure.
Now, I'm no statistician, but I'd be surprised if Dr. Spiegelhalter or Joseph Mazur could figure out the probability of my coincidence. Going back to Shrinking the World article by Mazur, he ends his piece with the following, quote, these seemingly unlikely events happen because of the vast number of experientially available possibilities. Did they happen by chance, or do we use chance as the excuse for what we do not know? The world is mind-bogglingly vast, yet made small by our coincidence stories that expand our neighborhoods and make us question whether our collisions are chances or destinies, unquote. I like that. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Lexi and what she has to say on today's topic.
Oh,
take it away.
Look at you guys. You guys are in sync and everything. I like this.
Personally, I do not believe in coincidences. I believe that they are like our fate or our destiny, just giving us kind of like a nudge, like trying to wake us up a little bit, like, hey, go this way or do this or do that. Like a confirmation, like the universe giving you like a confirmation of something you were just thinking of or feeling. It's like a green light from the universe. That's how I like view coincidences and synchronicities. I think that everyone has a divine purpose, and I believe that coincidences happen because it's being placed for a divine purpose. Like everything is a perfect puzzle piece, and like by the end of our life, it's all completed, type of thing.
So do you feel our lives are all predetermined?
yes and no. I believe that there definitely is different paths that we could take, but like our overall, like what we intend to learn as we go through this life stays the same, and will always be like brought back to that path, even if different life events happen or different choices are made. And that's like where I believe coincidences and synchronicity comes into play, is to remind us of our life path, to remind us of the lessons we chose to learn this lifetime. Because I believe each life on earth is a life of learning to get our soul to grow more and evolve more. So I think of earth as like a giant like soul library, and humanity is like the study case.
You know, what you were saying earlier about, you don't believe in coincidences a lot. You know what other group of people believe in that same thing is religious people. They would say it's a God's will, right? Think about that.
Right. Yeah,
right.
They would.
God's will. Like there's a lot of isms, like even in different cultures within the background of the same religion, they would have different isms about the same thing. Like, if you sneeze at the same time as someone else, then my mom would say like, oh, someone's thinking of you, like it's something like that all the time. Like it's something God fearing or God lending to them. Obviously, I'm not saying to you, but it is something you both have a connection to. They also don't believe in coincidence, usually.
Right. I think it's all like the divinity of life in general, really.
Now, do you have an example where you feel that fate or the universe gave you that nudge?
Yeah, actually, I have a few recent ones. I'm gonna say two recent ones real fast, and I'll go to one that happened a few years ago. The most recent one was about a week ago. I was thinking about this for a little while before, like I started to get nudges from the universe, but I was thinking about studying like shamanism and getting into shamanism and everything. And like, it was just like, it came into dreams. It came into like a feeling like, oh, this is like something that I feel really drawn to. I don't know why I haven't like even done any research on it. So I was in the car and I was just thinking about shamanism, and I was thinking about like reincarnation and stuff. And then I remembered how my aunt lost a baby. She gave birth and he died like 10 days later. And then a year later, my grandma, my aunt's mom, got a puppy, and the energy around the puppy feels like the energy of that baby. So I texted my mom and I said, hey mom, I think the baby Colin reincarnated as the puppy. And then we talked a little bit about that. And this was around the time of the full moon in Lionsgate. So it was about like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And she sent me a link to like what's happening during the full moon and everything. And at the very top of the link was learn about shamanism here, join our shamanism club. I'm like, that's so crazy. I was just thinking about joining shamanism. And she's like, and I was just thinking about reincarnation. So it made a whole circle. I was like going into what she was feeling and thinking of and wanting to learn more about, which was reincarnation.
Cool.
And then she sent me a link about shamanism, which was something I wanted to learn about.
That's a nudge, all right.
Yeah.
That's very nudginess.
That is. That's pretty.
I have yet to studied it though, so I think another nudge is coming soon.
Well, I mean, it's only been like a week, so.
Yeah. Yes, that was a really big one. The second one was actually finding this apartment. Oscar, do you remember how we found this apartment and stuff?
I don't know what happened yesterday, much less 2 months ago.
Well, the same exact day, maybe an hour before we learned about this apartment, I decided to download apartment finding app.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember now. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And we looked for like an hour, and I ended up just like, we kind of just gave up because the prices were too much. Everything was too much.
Right. Everything's COVID-y, so we weren't sure of everything,
Right. Yeah. And then we both said like it's too much right now. We're probably not going to find a good place. And I deleted all the apps, and I thought to myself, the perfect place for us will present itself when we are ready. And about 20, 30 minutes later, Oscar goes to talk with his mom, and he comes back and says, we have an apartment offer.
Yeah.
And
it's through the family, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a real luck find. I mean, this is technically my uncle's owns this house, and he has, it's a legit second floor with its own opening and everything. It's not like one of those made to look like another apartment thing. It's a real apartment, and he has been renting this out. And a couple months ago, or a few months ago, the old tenants moved out, and I was just asking at the right time, and he was like, "Oh, I have a spot available here upstairs." I'm like, "You kidding me?"
Right when you gave up,
right?
Essentially. Yeah, usually this stuff is like you'll see reoccurring numbers, throughout your day or many days. See the same numbers popping up, or you'll run into someone you've just been thinking of, or
it's like when you're shopping for a mattress, you notice more mattress stores. That's like that's kind of like it, but not really. That's a strange. That's almost like déjà vu.
Yeah,
right.
But you buy a blue car, next thing you know, every car next to you is a blue car, or the same make and model of the car you just bought,
Right.
But these, the what you guys are saying, those are pretty intense examples.
Yeah.
And the craziest part about it was, like, I was still iffy. I'm like, I don't know, this seems too good to be true. As we drove up to visit the place, I have like a personal angel number that always stands out to me. I have 2, 1111 and 333. And a few houses next to this house, the address started with 333.
Okay.
Right, and ours has 33 in the number too, and our address number.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then as we go upstairs, I see all the walls are painted my 2 favorite colors, like almost to the exact.
And what I'm trying to tell, is it?
It's blue? It's like a pastel baby blue and like a lavender purple and like a darker purple. Those are my 2 favorite colors, and every single wall is painted blue and purple except the bedroom, which is orange.
And it was one of the big questions that come out of these experiences. What are the odds, right? What are the odds this is going to happen?
Well, it's funny because for her, what she would ask that question. For me, I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, this is very normal in my life to expect rooms to be differently colored because I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's just Mexico or whatever, but every time I go down there, a lot of houses are just different colors all the time. It's not like everyone follows the same aesthetic. It's very common for different colored rooms, is my point.
I see.
I would never expect that. I wasn't looking for a sign like that, but she, not knowing this was going to happen, it hit her more, like it was definitely new to her. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a very intense, awesome synchronicity and coincidence. And a lot of things were changing in my life around that time. I recently lost a best friend. She didn't die or anything. She just ghosted me. So she died in my friend group. She's gone. Yeah. She's dead to me. But so I was feeling like extra lonely and like change. I knew change was coming because usually something drastic happens right before something big changes.
You're right about that. A lot of times people in distress, in a stressful situation, will, boom, have this coincidental experience that really sort of focuses them and centers them and calms them back down.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Actually, I actually have something about that too later.
Ooh.
Yeah, I have one that Chloe, the one who helped me research this episode, I have a story from her I'd like to tell. Is this a good time to tell it?
I mean, why not? We brought it up.
Oh, I just want to make sure I'm not cutting off Lexi's next. I thought you had one more story.
I do, but you could tell yours first.
Okay, good. It just, when you talked about, the kind of turmoil you were going through with your friend, and that made me think of this story. And basically, she says in 2017, she found herself having this sort of full-blown mental breakdown in the middle of what's called the World Market, I guess someplace in California. She had tears, the whole thing. She said she was living in a cramped apartment. She had shit credit. She felt like she was stuck, kind of in a nightmare she couldn't get out of. And while she was in this store, she was screaming in her head to whatever higher power might be out there, asking for a sign. Just show me something that I'm on the right path, that this is going to be okay. And she left the store. She didn't buy anything, and she was drawn to this coffee shop that was sort of next to this World Market. And when she sat down on a bench outside of this coffee shop, she looked down towards the corner of the bench by a bush, and she noticed like this painted rock. So she bent down and she picked up this rock, and painted on the surface of this rock were the words, this is a sign. And she said this massive wave of deja vu or coincidence just washed over her.
Yeah.
And, she got more tears, and, it was this really profound moment for Chloe. And she doesn't know, is it a coincidence? Was that the universe speaking to her? Or, what that is. But what she was saying in her mind, show me a sign, rock, this is a sign, what are the chances?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's a really cool story.
That sounds like the result of a Randonautica experience too.
Right?
It does kind of, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I would say Randonautica and this topic must feel very similar to a lot of people who've used it.
Good point. Great point.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's using the idea of randomness to show us synchronicity / coincidences. Right?
Right. Yes.
That's what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've been thinking about that show a lot, and I think it helped a lot to my research today, as you guys will see as we get further down. But you have one more story, Lexi.
I do, yes. This one does take a little darker turn. This one is a little morbid.
They usually do.
Yeah. I have a very strange and morbid life. Okay, so this goes around synchronicity a little bit more than coincidence, in my opinion. Pretty much what it was for this was, I think, 2016, 2017, around then, I think. So pretty much for a few months, I was feeling really terrible, and I kept having these terrible dreams of houses being set on fire. I started to feel when I was awake, being set on fire, what being set on fire would feel like. And I started to hear gunshots, but no one else would hear them.
Holy shit.
And this would happen for a few months, and I didn't really know what was going on. I thought that it was me predicting an upcoming death, my own death. I was feeling my death before it happened. So I was truly getting afraid, because I've felt that feeling before when I felt death around me. So I know when it's upcoming, but I always think it's going to happen to me just because how deep it feels.
Mm-hmm.
And a few months later, after having all those dreams and everything, they just stopped out of nowhere. And I stopped hearing gunshots or dreaming of gunshots, feeling myself getting set on fire. And I think I've told a smaller version of this story before. But a few days after all the feeling stopped, a friend reached out to me, a friend from high school, and she told me about our mutual friend, Zach, who was murdered by his grandmother. He was shot in the head, and then she set the house on fire, but he survived both of that.
Oh.
Stayed in the hospital for 2 days and died from the inhalation of too much smoke. But he was holding on to his last breath for 2 days.
Oh my God.
So he endured the pain of surviving a gunshot to the head, which missed somehow, missed the main points or something, and being burned alive pretty much, and being rescued by the fire truck.
And you think you felt that?
I did.
What happened to him?
I think so.
Well, he died.
Shit.
Yeah. It stopped right around the time where he actually died.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I've never had anything like that happen. Thank God. That's intense.
Yeah, I knew her when this was happening. I remember her telling me that moment that happened and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stories. Morbid, you're right. Sorry for your friend, but wow, those are great examples.
Yep. I knew she would say something. That's good. Thank you, hon.
You're welcome.
All right, let me continue here. Because we're going to get into some heavy stuff next, I believe, guys. Let me see, what page am I? Yeah, heavy stuff next.
Heavy stuff coming up. Do we need a break?
It's the heavy stuff page, yes. Now, we've talked numbers, given examples of big and small coincidences. In some ways, you can view them as anything but, as Lexi says. Now it's a good time to talk about synchronicity. Synchronicity is the simultaneous occurrence of events which appear significantly related but have no discernible causal connection. If you think about it, synchronicity and coincidence sound a lot alike in their definitions.
I had a real hard time trying to differentiate the two when I was doing some research.
Yeah, they sound and feel synonymous. There are differences, I can assure you, and to figure it out, let's talk about who coined synchronicity. It was a Swiss psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who lived between the years 1875 and 1961. His work extended and influenced many fields beyond psychiatry, such as anthropology, archaeology, literature, religious studies, and of course, philosophy. He had many inventive and life-changing concepts, such as individuation, which is the lifelong psychological process of differentiation of the self out of each individual's conscious and unconscious elements. He worked very closely with Sigmund Freud, which is the founder of psychoanalysis. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, his name was Carl Gustav Jung. Carl Jung, that one. A very heavy and intelligent figure, Carl Jung started lobbying synchronicity around as early as the 1920s, but gave a full report on it in 1951 after writing and rewriting different definitions of the term. Defining synchronicity, according to him, is like this. 1. An acausal connection principle. 2. Meaningful coincidence. 3. Acausal parallelism. Parallelism? Fuck, I can't say that word.
Parallelism?
Parallelism.
Parallelism.
There you go. It's just now when you think about it, right? And 4. A meaningful coincidence of two or more events where something other than the probability of chance is involved. Those are the 4 definitions he eventually came up with. Now, the word acausal, which is, I had to find out what that was, within Jung's concept of synchronicity is a synonym. Another definition is not involving causation or arising from a cause, like the behavior of atoms, according to this interpretation, is random and therefore acausal.
Okay.
Jung's belief was that just as events may be connected by causality, they may also be connected by meaning. In an article written in 1981 in the Journal of the American Society for Psychical Research about Jung's writings and current critiques of synchronicity, it said, quote, events connected by meaning need not have an explanation in terms of causality, which does not generally contradict the axiom of causality, but in specific cases can lead to prematurely giving up causal explanation, unquote. Sounds like they're critiquing it there a little bit.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, the axiom of causality, capitalized letters, by the way, also called the principle of universal causation, is the proposition that everything in the universe has a cause and is thus an effect of that cause. Heavy stuff, I know.
It is, yeah.
I mean, there's more though. Despite having many intelligent backers over the decades since Jung's 1951 statement, such as other philosophers, literature authors, psychiatrists, and scientists, synchronicity is considered to be a pseudoscience, as it is neither testable or falsifiable. Popular science labels synchronicity as mere coincidences which can be described by the laws of statistics and confirmation biases. So they generally don't like it. The very thing that makes it a pseudoscience, however, is what makes synchronicity possible. Kind of like Schrodinger's cat, for example. It's both there and isn't there. It can't exist without the other. It has to be untestable to be a synchronicity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat. I remember we went real deep into Schrodinger's cat for a Patreon episode that we did on
gross. That's gross.
Mandela Effect, a follow-up to a Mandela Effect episode.
I don't remember, but it sounds a little familiar. It's been so many shows.
Yep, we did, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot to remember, acausal stuff and principles, but I found a simple diagram that may help explain further. To explain this diagram, imagine 2 separate lines crossing each other at the center, like a plus. The top represents indestructible energy, and its counterpart on the bottom represents the space-time continuum. On the left, there's coincidence, while on the right, synchronicity. So think of it that way. I hope that helps a little bit to visualize what I'm talking about. In Carl Jung's book, Synchronicity and Our Causal Connecting Principle, he wrote the following, quote, how are we to recognize acausal combinations of events, since it is obviously impossible to examine all chance happenings for their causality? The answer to this is that acausal events may be expected most readily where, on closer reflection, a causal connection appears to be inconceivable. It is impossible, with our present resources, to explain extrasensory perception, ESP, or the fact of meaningful coincidences as a phenomenon of energy. This makes an end of the causal explanation, as well as, for effect, cannot be understood as anything except a phenomenon of energy. Therefore, it cannot be a question of cause and effect, but a falling together in time, a kind of simultaneity. Because of this quality of simultaneity, I have picked on the term synchronicity to designate hypothetical factor equal in rank to causality as a principle of explanation. End quote.
Mm-hmm. Reminds me, there was an Australian biologist that I found. His name was Paul Kammerer. Mm-hmm. In 1919, he theorized that there's unknown forces or waves in the universe, which he called seriality, that influenced these coincidences and sort of gave rise to coincidences, helped influence coincidence, the seriality. And even Einstein stepped forward and said that this guy, Kammerer, his ideas weren't absurd.
Yeah.
What you said just kind of reminded me of this guy and how he put forth that there's this energy that's out there.
Yeah. No, I can see that. There's actually an element I didn't put in the show, but there was an element where he talks about having Einstein over for like dinner because they were alive at the same time. And there were figures at the same time. You know, a lot of people knew each other like that. And he talked about how he would hear the theory of relativity and its when it was starting and stuff like that, and how he related synchronicity to that. But I didn't put it on there because it didn't really fit anywhere. But he does talk to Einstein about it, which is interesting.
Yeah,
that you say that. I know this is a lot to absorb. But if it's still hard to understand, I've got one final thing about synchronicity. It's a modern look. Synchronicity removes the accident from the accidental nature of those events. And while it reads like a coincidence, that's only the tip of its meaning that could evolve coincidence into synchronicity.
Oof.
Imagine lightning hitting the tree in your backyard. Kind of like an electrical coincidence, right? What are the chances of that happening? Things like that. Now, if on the day of your grandfather's death, his favorite tree in the backyard gets hit with lightning, that's synchronicity. It is the value we give it that makes an event like that more than just a coincidence. Or say you're hungry and it's lunchtime, and for some reason you really desire some shrimp tacos. If a friend suddenly comes to you and talks about a great shrimp taco restaurant he went to last night, that'd be a coincidence. But if your girlfriend gives you a surprise call to meet her for some shrimp tacos for lunch and then tells you how much she loves you, that's definitely synchronicity. Reaching beyond just a particular and peculiar coincidence, synchronicity may have everything to do with how you met your wife. We'll get into a story about that, won't we?
Yes, we will.
Now, it's a little bit of a story time here. This is the portion really we get into the stories. I didn't think of how much that example I gave is a coincidence to your story, Jay. I just realized that. I should have.
It's a coincidence. You're right.
It's funny. That was not intentional.
It's unfolding. It's unfolding
within me. As I wrote it. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's funny. This is the portion where I leave it to you, which is funny. Here's what I wrote. It's story time. You've heard some juicy coincidences stories already, and now I'm going to pass it over to Jay to see what he's got for us.
Yeah, and Oscar, you told me, first of all, yes, that's coincidence unfolding as we're talking about coincidence. That's weird. That is weird.
That's cool.
That is weird.
So when you told me you were going to run with this, all you asked me to do was, just think of some coincidences I've had in my life. Right. And man, was it hard. It was hard. I know I've experienced them, the déjà vu and things like this. I just couldn't think of one. But then I thought, oh my God, the biggest one. How am I even overlooking this? It's really how I met my wife. 20.
Awesome.
20. Oh God, she would kill me. 22 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was 22 or 23 years ago. And now, we have two beautiful children, right? Our lives are flourishing and blossoming and we're doing our thing.
And if you're wondering out there, the beauty comes from her, not from him.
Absolutely. It all boils down to me calling for a pizza while I was pretty drunk. That's what it boiled down to. So many moons ago, I was a server at a restaurant. And, as often servers do, once they get off their shifts, they go back to someone's house, one of the other servers' house, and you get drunk. And a lot of them would smoke weed. I never got into drugs. Or they would slam rails of Coke, whatever servers do when they get together after shifts.
Yeah.
I did the drinking.
Dealing with customers sucks.
It does. You need to unwind. So we went back to this girl, Julie's apartment, and everyone's doing their thing, and I'm drinking beer or whatever it was, and people started saying, we're hungry. Now, anyway, there could have been 15, 16 of us total. Anyone could have picked up the phone. I wasn't in my neighborhood or anything. Someone local could have picked up the phone and dialed a pizza joint that they knew. But I said, I'm going to call for pizza. I know a great place. And people were like, I don't even know if are they going to deliver here or whatever. So I called a pizza place in Chicago called Villa Napoli. And Katie answered the phone. My wife answered the phone. And never met her in my life. It's the first time I'm ever hearing her. And, I was feeling loose. So I said, hey, you sound kind of cute. So we wound up talking for maybe 20 minutes.
Wow.
I ultimately ordered the pizza, but I got her phone number. And the next, we agreed to have another phone conversation, which we did the following day. So the day after that second conversation, I sent my friend, Minister Sal, who's been on the show, sent him into the pizza place and said, hey, check this girl out. I think I want to go out. I want to check her out. I want to go out.
Like a Seinfeld episode.
Yeah. Let me know if she's good looking, right? This is superficial, whatever. Yeah. And so I send him in, and he comes back out about 10 minutes later, and he's like, yeah, dude, she's good to go. You're good. You're good. And the rest is history. I mean, the rest, here we are 20-something years later with a full life and kids and the whole thing.
Right.
Just because I'm the one who decided to call for pizza, and I called a pizza place that I knew that I enjoyed, and my future wife answered the phone. That was it. If I had a taste for tacos that night, or if I had a taste for subs or some shit,
you'd be in a fucking alley.
My life would be 100% different, guaranteed.
Yeah.
But
that's wild.
That coincidence or fate or whatever you want to call it,
right,
steered my entire life. How fateful! What are the odds that someone who hates people like I do, I don't want to know people, I don't want to be around people, just would find someone that made me happy to say, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you.
Right.
By a phone call, by a rumble of a tummy and a phone call.
Yep.
Crazy.
That is nuts. I remember you told me that story years ago. Yeah.
Yes. So now whenever we get into a fight, I say, God damn it, I wish I had a taste for tacos that night. And she gets so mad. She gets so mad.
Well, you're pulling a lever, Jay.
That's a big lever. Yeah. But that, and then the other thing I thought of was, and this would happen to me a lot when I was on the road. I don't travel for work anymore. I work out of a home office, which is wonderful. But when I would be driving down the road, I'm zoning out, listening to a podcast, or I'm just, jamming to Spotify or whatever. And it would happen frequently where there would be a lyric in a song or a word said in a podcast, and I would look to my left or look to my right while I'm driving my car, and boom, that word would be on a billboard. It would be on, a town name or a street name, side of a truck, something. That exact word that was said in the podcast or the song was now right in front of my eyes. And I'll tell you, when you experience something like that, it says to you, this is the spot I am supposed to be. I am supposed to be here. It's so strange.
Yeah, and that's how you feel, like you're on the right path.
You're on the right path. Yes, I am. Right. I'm doing the right thing. This is where I'm supposed to be in life this moment.
That's good. That sounds assuring.
Other than that, I can't really think of anything else.
No, it's hard to think of them, honestly. It's like one of those things when someone starts the story like, oh, yeah, and then you think of that one time, and then you think of something else. But you never think of it in the ether of not being reminded in any way. Like when you sit down and try to think of it, nothing comes out. But when you start talking about it, eventually something reminds you of something that happened. And like, oh, shit, yes, I do have one now. It's like that, right? Yeah.
Or, I mean, I think all three of us could say how you would think of someone and they would call, right?
Yes.
That happens quite frequently.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty common one, but those are my stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other portions for from what you got in your research? This will usually be your section right now.
So I originally set out I wanted to contribute coincidence and the matrix. Right. We've talked on this podcast a number of times about simulation theory or many worlds theory, or the fact that we're living in it's not reality that we're living in, right? We've talked about this a number of times. So I wanted to try to make the connection between coincidence and the idea that we're living in a matrix. And it was hard to find. A lot of the research came down to the actual movie, The Matrix, and not so much coincidence, but déjà vu. How when we experience déjà vu, that's really a glitch in the software that's running our
lives,
perceived reality, right? And it all stems from one scene in the movie The Matrix. Who is that? The Wachowski brothers?
Yes.
Or I think
they're the sisters now.
They're the Wachowski sisters, right? Exactly. Yeah. Where Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, of course, he doesn't know if he's in reality or if he's in the Matrix, right? And he's in like this abandoned store, kind of just rundown store. And
no, it's like in a rundown like apartment building. And
is it an apartment building? Yeah, and he looks through a doorway, right? And he sees a cat. Mm-hmm. And the black cat walks by, it kind of looks at him, gives a meow, and it continues on its way. 2 seconds later, the same exact cat, in the same exact way, walks right by, behaves, meows, the whole thing. Looks identical.
And he says, déjà vu. And then the other crew members say, like, what did you say? And then they're like, déjà vu, it's like a glitch in the Matrix, they say. And it's like, the explanation in the movie is that since they're in the Matrix and they know it, it means that the software that's rendering their world has glitched a little bit because it's changing something in their environment.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So like in simpler words, we could be living in a fake reality designed by some higher being, whether it's aliens or whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
It's kind of just like how we as humans design these non-player characters into video games, only we have the idea that we have free will, even though we're still living in a simulated reality that was programmed by someone or something else. Yeah. We get to act and move and seemingly be free until we catch a glimpse that something is wrong. And whether that's coincidence or déjà vu or what have you, that it might be broken. And it gives us maybe some confirmation that reality isn't what we see it as,
right?
Exactly. I mean, even Elon Musk, I think it was in 2017, he said on the Joe Rogan show that there's more likely chance than not that we are living in a simulation made by some much more advanced, highly advanced creator, race.
Intelligent being.
Yeah. Intelligence, right, exactly.
Right.
So that's what I tried to set out to do. And
right. It's hard to get stuff on it.
Yeah, sometimes, it leads into dead. It was, like I said, more déjà vu, when it comes to breaking the Matrix, but still interesting, still very interesting.
All right, then. Then maybe we should get into some of the stories I got written down here for everyone. Now, we said many kinds of stories here. So my next few stories relate to popular events or places in history. A fantasy writer named Morgan Robertson wrote a novel titled Futility. It told the story of a ship that sunk. The ship in the novel was described as unsinkable. It lacked a suitable amount of lifeboats to save everyone, and while it sailed in the North Atlantic, it collided with icebergs. The name of the ship in the novel was called the Titan. And Robertson wrote it in 1898, 14 years before the sinking of the Titanic. In very similar circumstances.
Wow.
The next story I have here involves the Hoover Dam. Our very own Hoover Dam. I like saying that. Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam.
Like that. Sounds like fun. On December 20th, 1921, a crew surveying locations for the dam got caught in a flash flood. and a man named John Gregory Tierney, J.G. Tierney, was lost forever in the raging Colorado River, one of the first casualties of the project. Then, on December 20th, 1935, 14 years later to the day, the job site suffered its last fatal accident when a worker fell to his death from one of the two intake towers on the Arizona side of Black Canyon. That man was Patrick William Tierney, J.G. Tierney's only son.
Oh, stop it.
That's very true. Their names appear in raised metal on a plaque near the dam, never to be forgotten.
That just gave me the goosebumps. I don't know.
That's a true story.
Wow.
14 years to the day. Another shipwreck story for you, kind of. Edgar Allan Poe wrote a novel in 1838 called The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. Have you read it?
I haven't.
Me either. And I'm a Poe fan, but I haven't read I've like maybe half his stuff, but not that book. As you may imagine, it's full of ghastly horrors, much like his other stories. The novel is framed as a mock memoir, where the narrator, Pym, describes a horrid voyage. Pym's friend, Augustus, helps him stow away on a ship. Following a mutiny and a crazy-ass storm, Augustus and Pym find themselves in charge of the ship's remains, accompanied by only two others, Dirk Peters and Richard Parker. Anyway, around halfway through the book, we find that the survivors have been living for several days, rationing the remains of a turtle, and are near delirious with thirst. They begin to think the unimaginable, to sacrifice someone for the sake of the rest, cannibalism. The one who draws the short straw, so to speak, is Richard Parker in the book. Here's where a grim parallel between fact and fiction appears. A man named Nigel Parker wrote about the striking similarities between Poe's work and the subsequent fate of his forebear, about how Richard Parker was one of the 4 shipwreck survivors who ate a turtle before resorting to cannibalism, with Parker the victim, exactly the same way. The story was shed to light in a letter published in the Sunday Times in 1974. A real-life incident occurred in 1884, roughly 46 years after Poe's novel first published. That's nutty.
How do you explain it? Explain it.
Side note, if you ever seen the Oscar-winning 2012 movie Life of Pi, about a boy lost at sea with a Bengal tiger, then you might recognize that Richard Parker is the name the writer used for the tiger. It's an homage to Poe's novel, and also ironic, not coincidence, ironic because the boy cannot eat Richard Parker, the tiger, because it's a fucking tiger. And in living with the great beast in the sea, managed to stay alive to tell the tale, so to speak.
Huh. Did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
Did not make that connection.
Little, the more you know, you know.
That's right.
But I didn't write this part down, but I'll say it right now. I verified this story on a few sites, right? And I didn't actually read the book. I read a little bit of an excerpt, right? It was something about when they eat the turtles, for example, the turtle or whatever. But just to verify that it happened. And I came across this idea that came out on a few other websites. Apparently, and I couldn't verify this, otherwise I would have included. I just didn't have the time. I didn't put the time in for it. That in an interview, or not interview, but in public, or maybe to a reporter or something, Edgar Allan Poe said something about this book, about the tale of Pym of Nantucket, that he took the story of the cannibalism and the voyage and the crashing and the shipwreck. He took the story from real life, he said. But obviously it hadn't happened yet. So people started stipulating when the story arose in 1974 that he was actually like on some sort of time travel, like he knew it was going to happen and wrote it into his tale. So there's a little bit of like people think that he might have time traveled or gleaned into the future and then took what he saw as a character for his novel.
So the actual life event happened 40-something years before.
No, the actual life event happened after he wrote the book. But he had said, this is way before the incident, with the real life incident, he had said that he heard about it. I
see.
You know what I'm saying? He said that he read about it or he knew about it, or some real life incident, but it hadn't happened yet.
So he jumped forward, in other words.
Right.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
We should do an episode on Poe.
Poe would be very interesting story. I would gladly read his shit just to fucking do a show on him.
Yeah, that could be 1 or 2 episodes. That's a good story.
He has a very interesting story because he had those 5 days missing. You know about those?
I don't. No.
So he was a very tormented man. You know that, right? Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
He was a very tormented motherfucker. Like his first wife was his first cousin or his third wife. I don't remember. Everyone in his life dies of tuberculosis, and everyone who doesn't die tortures him. It's a really bad life. He was addicted to opioids and alcohol to the point of that's what killed him, essentially. At least that's what they think. So 5 days before he died, he disappeared, and no one knew where to find him. And they found him in the middle of a park, lying on the grass, dead. 5 days after anyone last saw him. And a lot of people cannot account for his actions during those 5 days.
Wow.
Or something like that. I might be getting the details slightly wrong. Someone can verify for me. But yeah, it'll be interesting to do a show, to do a thing on him, because they made a movie about what he did during those 5 days. Obviously, it's more like Hollywood speculation. It's more like fun times, but it's really interesting what you can surmise based on the guy's reputation and his tales of horror that he maybe did something fucked up or something fucked up happened to him right during those days that killed him.
Wow,
interesting to think of it, but even his death is mysterious. Is my point. Like everything's mysterious about the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm. It sucks. He made no money for his shit. He made like 12 cents of the Raven and shit.
Wow.
Weird time. Anyway, I have one last story here. My next story is huge. So huge that it is very, very difficult to see where life as we know it would be today had this marvelous coincidence not occurred. It affects housing, music, military institutions, movies, and new countries dawning and old countries sundowning. It affects all this.
Oh my God. All right.
I'm talking about an event that happened one summer in Bosnia, in Sarajevo to be precise, which is the capital. Now, I read a book about this event, and for today's show, I read history.com and other sources, but I decided to go with the Smithsonian website, the way they wrote it. So I'm going to quote it, okay? It is the summer of 1914. And Bosnia had just become part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. A handful of young Bosnian-born Serbs decided to strike a blow for the integration of their people into a greater Serbia by assassinating the heir to the Austrian throne. Their opportunity comes when it is announced that Franz Ferdinand will be making a state visit to the provincial capital, Sarajevo. Armed with bombs and pistols supplied by the Serbian military intelligence, 7 conspirators positioned themselves at intervals along the Archduke's route. The first to strike is Nedeljko Kabrinović, I'm going to butcher names here, guys, sorry, who lobs a hand grenade towards Franz Ferdinand's open touring car. But the grenade is an old one with a 10-second fuse. It bounces off the limo and into the road, where it explodes under the next vehicle in the motorcade. Although several officers in the car are hurt, Franz Ferdinand remains uninjured. To avoid capture, Kabrinović drains a vial of cyanide and throws himself into a nearby river, but his suicide bid fails. The cyanide is past its sell-by date, and the river is just 4 inches deep at the time. I know, it's not the worst suicide attempt ever. The bombing throws the rest of the day's plans into disarray. The motorcade is abandoned. Franz Ferdinand is hurried off to the town hall where he is due to meet with state officials. Disconsolate, the remaining assassins disperse, their chance apparently gone. One of them, Gavrilo Princip, I hope I'm saying that right, heads for Moritz Schiller's Delicatessen on Franz Joseph Street. It's one of Sarajevo's smartest shopping destinations. Just a few yards from the bustling through the road known as Apple Quay. I'm sorry, guys. As Princip queues to buy a sandwich, Franz Ferdinand is leaving the town hall. When the heir gets back into his limousine, though, he decides on a change of plan. He'll call at the hospital to visit the men injured in the grenade blast earlier. There's just one problem. The Archduke's chauffeur is a stranger to Sarajevo and gets lost. He swings off Apple Quay, which is the street, and into crowded Franz Joseph Street, then drifts to a stop right in front of Schiller's Delicatessen. Princip looks up from his lunch to find his target sitting just a few feet away. He pulls out his gun. 2 shots ring out, and the first kills Franz Ferdinand's wife, Sophie. The second hits the air in the neck, severing his jugular vein. The Archduke slumps back, mortally wounded. His security men hustle Princip away. Inside Schiller's delicatessen, the most important sandwich in the history of the world lies half-eaten on the table. End quote. Now, if that is the first time you've heard the story of the fall of Archduke Ferdinand and recognize no names and dates, then you should know this assassination sparked World War I. The alliances of several countries in Europe during that time were very fragile, and the 2 gunshots forced nations to take arms against each other. It's simple. This chain reaction caused 2 world wars, 80 million deaths, the Russian Revolution, the rise of Hitler, and the atomic bomb. Indirect changes are unfathomable.
Wow. I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. Fucking sandwich.
Yeah. Fucking sandwich. There's some stipulations. Some historians disagree that he was there for a sandwich, but he was there at the right place, and the guy did make a wrong turn, and the guy was very right, a few feet away, just at the right time. He shot him. So
do historians believe that if that did not happen, World War One?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yep.
Wouldn't have happened.
It forced countries that had alliances like doctrines and whatnot for each other, like like Serbia would say to Russia, like, hey, like, if we get attacked by Slavs or Serbs or whatever, like, you're gonna back us up, right? Like, yeah, this is the paper that proves it. We're gonna back you up because you have resources that we want, and we want that peace sitting there. And so when this happened, it was a terrorist attack that led to the death of the heir to that throne, because back then kings and queens were much more valuable. That it destroyed that relationship between the peace treaty that they supposedly had, fragile peace that they had.
Damn.
Once that happened, countries were forced by doctrine to attack each other. Russia said, I got to protect them. And they're like, Italy's like, no, I got to go fight them because they attacked my country that I was helping defend over here. And that's how World War I started.
That is amazing.
It's amazing. And without that, the destabilization of Germany wouldn't have happened, which means no rise of the Third Reich, no World War II the way it happened either. And no advancement in defense budgets to this nth degree, to the point where we're inventing bombs and God knows airplanes of the different sorts, submarines. God knows what would have happened.
That's right. Definitely, you're right.
Definitely war movies will never be the way we see them as today. No Saving Private Ryan.
No Saving Private Ryan, right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
No American involvement either.
That's a drop the mic coincidence.
Yes.
I mean, you can't get any bigger than that.
Yep. I mean, our lives would be different, Jay, right now. We may not exist in the way we are. Maybe your parents don't meet.
Well, yeah, certainly military men coming back from the war, the baby boomers. I mean, that's what it was. Guys coming back from the war, getting down to business right away and having tons of kids. And wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of things that connect to it.
Good job, man. I mean,
good job. More, though. But that's the last story I got. But there's...
Yeah.
So that's all I got with stories. There's oodles more out there. And looking at places like Reddit, philosophy courses, and historical records are sure enough to quench your thirst, should you want more. We're almost done. I got one more section for you. It'll be short, though. It concerns a group of people that inexplicably connects with people like Lexi Raven, those Wiccan and Gaia and energy types, right? I'm talking about physicists. They, like Lexi, do not believe in coincidences, at least from what little I've read anyway. Physicists see coincidences as a vexing and currently unknown entity in the universe. To them, coincidences are covering up some undiscovered principle of the universe. And when intelligent people in the world of science find something with no evidence or cause, they use a term to explain, like a bucket list entry waiting to be done later. I'm talking about the Anthropic Principle. Anthropic Principle. I can never know how to say that. Oxford defines the Anthropic Principle, or the cosmological principle as another name for it, as the universe is constrained by the necessity to allow human existence, meaning the universe is as it is because we're here to see it. It's like a little piece of circular logic. Have you heard of this before? This idea, Jay?
I wanted to say something, but I'm going to let you finish to make sure I'm thinking the same way.
This kind of relates to the multi-universe theory. The following is talking about what scientists mean when using Anthropic Principle to fit into the mystery of coincidences. Quote, a universe inhospitable to life would have no human beings around to observe it. So the one we see must, by definition, possess features essential to accommodate intelligent life. But that doesn't tell us whether a slightly different universe might still host life, why our particular universe exists and not some other, or why we see finely balanced features with no bearing on the emergence of life. And yet, there is an idea that sweeps all objections away. All conceivable universes exist side by side in a patchwork multiverse. We merely inhabit one of the infinite selection. Why believe in the multiverse? Because a process such as inflation, like the universe is flat as a pancake theory, if left unchecked, could produce a multitude of causally disconnected universes. String theory, still most physicists' favorite route to an overarching theory of everything, conjures up an entire landscape of maybe 10th to the 100th or more universes, all slightly varying properties. But some still see the multiverse as an abdication for scientific responsibility, a fancier way of simply saying coincidences happen. And if true, it means that some astronomers out there are forced to justify a universe with even more replete with coincidences than ours, while others could be bored stiff in a completely random cosmos. Unquote. In other words, scientific observation of the universe would not even be possible if the laws of the universe had been incompatible with the development of sentient life. Proponents of the Anthropic Principle argues that it explains why this universe has the age and the fundamental physical constants necessary to accommodate conscious life, since if either had been different, we would not be around to make observations in the first place. So if a tree falls and no one's around, did it make a sound? Food for thought. That's what I got on that little part. Did you want to say something?
No, that's good. I thought you were going more with towards I think it's called the observer effect.
Yeah, that is the thing where the documentarians face all the time, where like if you put a camera on someone, they're not acting naturally, like that.
Well, it's something doesn't exist until we observe it.
Right, it's similar.
We observe it into existence, or how physicists.
It can relate to that, yes.
Yeah, how physicists measure particles, and they see particles being in two places at the exact same time.
Yes.
Which could help explain, like, déjà vu, for example.
Yes.
You were somewhere, you were now, and you were in the future at the exact same time.
Yes.
Which gave you this, hey, I've been there before.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Idea.
Very similar. Yeah.
And that also plays into the simulation theory. Think of a video game. Not everything is on screen at once. You
have to discover it. You have to walk around, move the camera in your game.
And then when you're done looking at it, it's gone again.
Yeah, it's gone again.
That's what they say is the same thing, sort of with this observer effect in our
it's very similar
physical universe.
That's why I said food for thought at the end, because it's a lot to think of, and it really boggles the mind the more you go into it in your mind. Listeners, I hope you're listening to this parts, because you have to let it wash over you. Don't just get bogged down, but get bogged down after the show ends. But it's a lot, I know. As you sit there, listeners, thinking of coincidences and your personal take on them, know this bit of information. Researchers have noticed that coincidences happen more to certain people than others. People who describe themselves as religious or spiritual, those who are more connected with the world around them and seeking for meaning, or are in distress, searching for signs, are more likely to experience coincidences. If that is you, then you might have been cringing every single time I've said the word coincidence. Sorry. If that is not you, fear not. I have a little process that could help you notice coincidences better. Everything in life needs practice. So here's a way to cultivate and connect with coincidences in your everyday life. First, pay attention. Coincidences happen to people who are mindful of their surroundings. Talk to strangers. How will you know if you and the neighbor across the street went to the same high school at the same time if you don't talk to him? Find meaning. Ask yourself if you can derive something meaningful from a coincidence, whether it's a song on shuffle or a peculiar license plate. Lastly, write it down. Keeping tabs on your experiences is the best way to find other coincidences and notice them more often. In closing, I have one more thing to quote. It relates to synchronicity and the paranormal nature of both coincidences and our show. It's from a book from 1997 titled Jung on Synchronicity and the Paranormal by Roderick Mayne. Quote, the culmination of Jung's lifelong engagement with the paranormal is his theory of synchronicity, the view that the structure of reality includes a principle of acausal connections which manifests itself most conspicuously in the form of meaningful coincidences. Difficult, flawed, prone to misinterpretation, this theory nonetheless remains one of the most suggestive attempts yet made to bring the paranormal within the bounds of intelligibility. It has been found relevant by psychotherapists, parapsychologists, researchers of spiritual experience, and a growing number of non-specialists like us. Indeed, Jung's writings in this area form an excellent general introduction to the whole field of paranormal. Unquote. If that doesn't explain the nature of this podcast, I doubt anything else can.
Good call. Wow, you did a hell of a job on this topic. It's mysterious. It's somewhat elusive, even though we've all experienced it at one point or another. It makes you question reality. All the above. It's pretty amazing.
Thanks. Yeah, that's all I got.
Lexi, what'd you think?
I thought it was really good, honey. You did a great job. And it was organized very well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So listeners, if you have some good examples of coincidence or deja vu.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Right? Synchronicity, contact at chicagoghostpodcast.com.
Don't call that phone number.
Yeah, let us know. Or you can call the phone number.
Don't do it.
We'll read your experiences on the show. Let's get some of your stories out there.
Yeah.
I told mine. I showed you mine. Now show me yours.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot that man, there's just so many avenues really, because it's such a wide subject, right?
It is.
Many different people in different types of professions have studied it in different angles that don't talk to each other about it, you know?
Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. Yeah.
I did find it, I thought it was pretty cool how science is actually studying this stuff, coincidence. Yeah. I didn't know there was people studied coincidence. I had no idea,
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fascinating. I'm glad I found that Spiegel Halter guy with the stats, and then I found Jung, right? And people, I mean, Jung is a big enough figure that everyone will probably study him, at least in school, like other scientists to be, right? So what do they have to say about it once they get into their fields? It's like everyone has a point. It's great that it came from such a prominent figure too, because that's the synchronicity. I mean, that it allowed a lot of opinions to come out, a lot of like research done today or recent. But how do you feel about coincidence? Like, where do you fall, Jay? Or do you feel like you fall in any of them?
I mean, I certainly know they exist. What it is, I couldn't tell you. I think I've had the feeling of deja vu more often than coincidence, I think. Mm-hmm. Except for the big one, like with my wife, like I mentioned. Yeah. But I know it exists. I don't know what the driving force behind it could be. Is it, like that Australian biologist mentioned, this underlying energy in the universe that drives coincidence or helps mold coincidence? I don't know. It's impossible. It's impossible to tell what that is.
Yeah. I hear you.
When these seemingly random series of events come together, coalesce, and have significance to you, how do you explain that?
Well, I mean, for Lexi, I imagine that her explanations are much easier. She must live much happier when she gets them. Like, she doesn't live in mystery as much as we would, maybe, Jay. But I fall more into the synchronicity aspect of it all. That's why I focus mainly on that aspect. The idea, also, like, I feel like every time I feel one or I see one happening, even if it's a minor one, it does make it makes the world seem smaller in a more personal way.
More personal, definitely. You're right.
Yeah. We had a shared déjà vu the other day. Do you remember that?
No.
A shared déjà vu?
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy. I would imagine that's pretty rare.
I don't know.
Yeah, so he was standing over by the fridge and he was saying something. And he said, "Hold on, I'm having déjà vu."
That's right. I didn't write it down. Oh my God, you're right.
And then right as he said that, I started to have déjà vu. I'm like, I'm having déjà vu, but you were saying that over there.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was very interesting. So we were talking about, remember our Dreams Patreon episode, right? We talked 3 hours on fucking dreams.
Yes.
And, that was a long fucking bonus. Might be our longest bonus to date. In it, we talked about déjà vu and stuff like that, whatever. And I mentioned that I've been trying to catch myself in the act of a déjà vu and then acknowledge it. Just like how you guys, you Jay especially, can catch yourself when you're dreaming and you tell yourself that you're dreaming. It's like that, but for being awake. It's my version of it, right? So for years, I've been trying to practice and trying to acknowledge it and change the outcome of the déjà vu that I'm experiencing.
Oh.
So I was talking to Lexi and I approached her from this. So it's like 10, 15 feet from the fridge to the couch where you were sitting. I went from the fridge to the couch talking to her about something I don't remember. And as I was talking to her, I stopped mid-sentence. I'm like, this is déjà vu. I remember I'm changing it right now. I said something like that. Like, I'm going to change it right now. I just said it out loud, right? Because it's rare that I catch déjà vu when I'm talking to someone, usually alone or something, or with a stranger or something.
Yeah.
And then she interrupts me by saying like, oh shit, this is déjà vu. Where like me saying that and pointing it out, like the way I'm signaling with my hand. And she was like saying that is her déjà vu. I'm like, and it made me think further, like how it's impossible to break it. Even though I felt like I was breaking the matrix, so to speak, and catching it in time.
Like another version of you was doing the same thing.
Right. Right. The whole point is that in itself can be translated into a déjà vu on her end because nothing can be broken.
You just blew my mind on that one.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I forgot to write it. I forgot to even think to tell you, honestly. It happened and we were like amazed by it for like 10 minutes and then we were like, okay.
What's on Netflix?
Yeah, because life has to go on. What are you going to do? Just sit there all day?
Cover all the secrets of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, right in that moment that something was happening.
No,
right there.
we fucking broke it. I felt like I was breaking it because I knew I was going to say something else. I was going to continue that sentence and I didn't. I stopped myself.
But then I remembered you stopping.
Right. Which makes me feel like I'm just in another loop from some other matrixy thing. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Right. Which means like it can't be broken, but I tried breaking it, Jay. I broke mine.
Damn.
That was very good. I forgot about that.
I don't know what to say. I got nothing.
To say.
I got nothing that profound.
But it fits the story of the topic, maybe of the show more than others. So that's
absolutely.
Honey, was that the same day I was giving you like a very detailed parallel life analysis type thing?
I don't remember. We talk a lot, Jay. You and I mean, I'm gonna tell Jay that we talk a lot about this shit all the time. So every day it feels like we talk about stuff like this. By the way. So what were you saying, honey? No, I don't remember that. I don't remember it being the same day. The
parallel life thing.
No, I don't remember it being the same day. I mean.
Okay.
I don't think it was, but
because I brought up the static example.
Yeah, no, you thinking about the stasis field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, back from Randonautica?
Yes, I was explaining. So I'm not going to explain the details because it's too personal, but we had a little bit of a disagreement or fight or whatever, and I was talking about the stasis field and how I'm a slave to it and it sucks. Essentially, I was saying that. I wasn't saying that like that, and because it reminded me, that Randonautica episode reminded me of that whole thing. I have it in my head a lot still, and I think about it every other day. And so we were talking about it, and then it came up again recently. My bad. It came up again recently in conversation, but it wasn't the same day, honey. It was after that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a different time. It related to like a cycle of things that I always end up doing that I don't see myself doing. It's like a stasis field routine that I don't notice I'm in.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how I put it. I found out, I discovered it in the middle of it. And
yeah, that is the stasis field. It's that rut.
Right. It's the rut. Exactly. It was a rut. It felt like a rut. It felt terrible. And then I'm as I was sitting there going through it, I realized that I was, and then I pulled myself out of it, so to speak. And I told her about it.
Realized you were in the stasis field.
Yes.
And then you put,
then I didn't do what I would have done normally.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. The universe doesn't like that though.
No.
And it's good for you though. It's good for man to do that. Human to do that.
Human, yeah.
To break that stasis field.
Yeah. Again, the details are personal, but it's
No, it's okay.
It was very cool. Very
wow.
Cool. Yeah. But that wasn't the same day, honey. It was maybe within a week of each other, sure, but I don't think.
Well, yeah, it was in the week of each other.
Yeah.
So you were doing a past life reading? Is that what you said?
Lexi, right?
When?
The past lives thing, you were doing a what?
Oh, no, it was a parallel life thing. I was,
Right.
I was describing, like, my experience of being fully conscious of quantum leaps that I've made. That's and right. how I experience consciously being inside a parallel life, knowing I'm inside a parallel life when I'm inside one, and then jumping in my memories of the previous and the differences.
We're definitely going to have to cover that on a show.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting topic too.
Yeah. I mean, we did a little bit in that dreams thing, a little bit too.
Yeah, you're right. We did.
About the girl in California or something. Or in punk. She was doing something with punk.
Oh, that was the
she was like all grungy and
the
stuff.
emo girl.
Grungy. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Your alternate
with the belly
self.
ring.
Yes.
The belly ring, right.
I had a dream about the belly ring not too long ago.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you're not on Patreon, you're missing out. That was a hell of a story.
Yes.
In our dreams episode.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, I think that's it, man.
Yeah, that was great. Great job, Oscar. Lexi, thank you for your support on this one.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome.
And listeners, let's hear some of those coincidence stories.
I would love to hear some.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right, Oscar, if that is all, take us home, sir. How does Oscar smell?
Really good.
Does he smell yummy?
Yeah, he does.
Nice. I miss his scent.
What? What's with everyone sniffing?
Why are you sniffing me, dog?
Why are you do I sound okay, by the way?
Yeah, you sound good.
Good. You don't hear any whirling fans?
Let me see. I hear something, but I don't know. That could be static on my headset.
Okay, well, it shouldn't be too bad then. Only because I will be frying up. I'll be frying in this room if there's no ventilation.
Do you have a spotlight behind you?
It looks like it does, right? I put the lamp behind me.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Is it annoying? I can move it.
No, not at all. I thought you were doing some sort of recording or something, like video recording, so you had your lights out.
Oh, yeah, that would be a key light, although the key light would be hidden now. You wouldn't be able to see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, at least typically, my understanding of key lights. And I need to reread some of the notes from school.
Honey, you lied to me.
I lied to you?
Yeah.
About what?
You said my hair looked good.
You always look good. Okay, to me, you're always looking good.
But look at this. Look at all the frizz. I can't.
The frizz looks frizz-lacular. It looks good.
You look like Janis Joplin.
See, look at that. That's a compliment. You know who Janis Joplin is?
Yeah.
So what? Oh, she's dead, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Alcohol, I think, got her, just like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I almost wrote in the coincidence relating Jimi Hendrix. I didn't write it in.
Which is that?
The coincidence is that him and a famous, I think it was Beethoven, lived next door to each other in different centuries.
What?
Yeah, apparently.
And they both became these world-changing musicians.
Yeah, world musicians, right,
Wow.
exactly. Changing world musicians, yeah.
That's crazy.
They live like literally one address down.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did not know.
Yeah, I didn't write that one. I didn't like research all the facts to make sure it's right.
No, but that's still, I mean, you can still mention it. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Did you get you got other instances of like coincidences and stuff?
I have like roughly like 10 stories.
Oh, that's cool. And then do you guys have your own personal?
I have one personal.
One? Okay. I think
it's
I
a big one
too.
though. It's like the reason for the show to exist.
Oh.
It's like the reason they made me think of the idea for it. Like,
I'm just winging it.
You're just winging it?
yeah, she's
Okay.
winging it. Yeah. Little bitty bit.
I couldn't think of like a story. Every time I try to think of it, it just goes
It is hard.
I couldn't. The only one I could think of is How I Met Katie.
Right.
That's
and you
really
told me
it.
that story before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
I mean, it's a big coincidence for my life, I guess, or fate, whatever you want to call it, or serendipity. I don't know what you would call it.
Don't worry, I have all the terms for you guys. You guys are gonna learn a lot here.
Yes, good. This
is like a research paper. I really went in like if my teacher told me explain coincidence in 25 pages.
Wow. Yeah, I tried, guys. I tried so hard. I couldn't get it together.
No, don't worry about it. This is why you said that you were having you might have trouble before, like a week ago.
Yeah.
So that's why I said like no, let me do this. I got it.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. I have a section. I wrote everything down in 11 sections. Lexi comes in the 7th, and you come in the 9th.
Okay.
Okay. Don't worry, I tee you up and everything.
Cool. Perfect. Money falling or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool.
Work
I
for
want
your
to
money,
get a
bitch.
tattoo of a spoon on my finger.
What the fuck? That's not cute. Let's say that.
You guys said silver, and it reminded
Okay,
me.
I'll bite. Why a spoon on your finger?
Okay, I want the spoon like right here, and I want to bend it like the Matrix to show that reality isn't real.
That is really kind of cool, actually. That's pretty.
It would be cooler had she thought of it on her own, though.
Oh,
no, I saw someone else with it, and she was like, "Hey, check out my tattoo." I'm like, I need that.
That is a really cool idea. I like that.
Right?
I like it too. I mean, if I tease her for it, but I think she should get it.
That's pretty fucking cool. But yeah,
It'll be a nice reminder when I go through my mental breakdowns.
What the fuck?
Like, oh, this isn't real.
You just be sitting in a corner, rocking, going like this. Oh, you can't see that I'm doing. Oh yeah, you can.
No, I can a little bit, but I can imagine it.
Looking.
Yeah. But so, oh my God, Lexi.
Is that Bella Delphine?
Yeah.
What is she doing? Oh, there's the tongue.
Just have that forever.
Did she do porn yet, this girl?
Yeah, she has an OnlyFans now.
Really?
It's not porn, but
It's like very teasy nudity.
she uses a vibrator and a dildo on a few of them.
Yeah, she does.
I searched her up on Pornhub and I found her.
Yeah, I found her on a porn site too. Yeah.
Wow. And how old is she?
She's like 18, 19.
18 or 19. Jesus.
Yeah, barely legal, Jay. I think that's what they call them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get a photo ID, get a photocopy of that ID.
I know that when you were that age, I know it was considered to be a very old person already, like 14 or 15 is very legal, I think, when you were around that age.
Yeah.
I know that people got married a lot younger then. But this is different now. They live in different times.
Jeez.
So.
Do we really have to stare at that the whole time?
We have to. It'd be fun.
Do you have other ones? Does she have braces too?
Can you? It's an old one.
She does have braces.
Wow.
And all planned. Lisa needs braces.
You know what's weird with that picture? If you look at her tongue, you know how people fork tongues?
Yes.
You could see
now
the
it's
two
beginning
muscles.
To fork. Yeah.
That if you just clip it at the tip, you can see exactly how the tongue forks. That's really weird.
It's a little weird. Put something sexy on, not something fucked up. I mean, this is like...
Yeah, that's
It looks like an animated character dying. That's what it looks like.
Look at that tongue. That's so weird. What did she get arrested for? Do I even want to know?
Someone stole her hamster at a party, so she went to find the person, and she drew a bunch of pictures of Pepe the Frog with paint on the person's car, and stole her hamster back.
You know, I mean, just there's things in the world you don't do, and apparently,
you don't fuck with the hamsters. You don't fuck with another
hamster.
Did I ever tell you, Jay? I'm sure you know my utter hate for hamsters.
No, I didn't.
I have this utter hate for them. Every time I see one, I want to torture it. I hate those little rats. I hate them.
Really? I
hate them. Gerbils too. I hate them all.
You know, Talia, she got a hamster named Nibbles.
Of course.
That's a good cuck. Oh my God.
It's just spelled right.
Where is she? Is she California?
No, she's in like Australia or something. She's far away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we never hear her voice. You just hear her lip syncing to some music, usually.
Oh, you never hear her voice? She never talks?
I'm sure not never. Not never. But the ones I've seen her in is usually she's lip syncing or just twerking or something.
Wow. Yeah, she's pretty yummy.
So what about Nibbles?
No, it's just that's the newest pet. She got it a couple, maybe 2 months ago.
I'm gonna torture it.
She saved up her allowance money and bought it, and
oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
that's good.
I guess
that's a good background.
Oh, the background.
Fuck the hamster. I'm sorry, I cannot go. No, I'm sorry. You know this unrelenting feeling I have for Rob is the same for the hamsters. You know, it's like that. You know what I'm talking about. Now you know exactly. Rob is a hamster. Rob is a hamster to me.
Oh my God.
So we're not doing video, so we'd have to show something from our office.
Yeah, because I didn't think of anything. In
is that why you're not shooting video? Because you can't think of what to show?
Well, I didn't. I just have a hoodie on.
Please don't say it's. Come on, Jay.
I don't want to.
This is not a fashionista fucking video.
No, but I have like COVID hair, and it's.
That's fine. It looks
like
it looks like
a little much. I do too.
It looks like a pineapple. It looks fun.
Do you say it looks fun?
Well, yeah, it looks like fun. It looks like fun.
I like to run my fingers.
It looks like a vacation.
Honey, was that you?
Did I slap my hand on that? Yeah, that was me.
Do it again.
I mean, it wasn't quite that strong. I just did it.
No, that wasn't you. Okay. It was coming from the bathroom.
Oh, sounds like fun.
So you guys really think your place is haunted?
Yeah, but like nicely haunted.
Yeah. Like every once in a while, like lights will flicker, or like I'll hear a sound that I know was an Oscar. I'll feel the presence, and then it'll just go away.
Really?
Yeah.
Who lived up there before you guys?
No one that died, as far as I know. It was a family with an autistic kid, and then they moved out a few months ago.
Huh.
I don't know how long they were here for. I didn't ask any follow-ups.
Yeah.
I should, I guess, just to know. But
interesting.
But my uncle's owned this house for, I don't know, like 20 years, 15, 20 years, something like that. Hmm. And I don't think anyone's died from his side unless some family member came over and died, which I would have heard of, I imagine. So
yeah.
I imagine. Again, I don't know. Family news is not like priority for me, and it's not priority for people to tell me either. So
I see.
But that's not me though. It's because I'm not around as much.
Are there a lot of yuppies?
Oh yeah, it's fucking yuppied up.
Is it really?
Yeah, a lot. Not like it's like half. I want to say. I feel like it's half the people, but it's getting there. Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, it's getting there. A lot of people are walking their dogs all the goddamn time.
Why do yuppies have so many dogs?
I don't know. What's with them and dogs? I have no idea.
I don't know.
Some sort of badge of honor or something.
Must
like
be.
part of the yuppie kit or something.
Yeah.
The welcome wagon has a dog in it.
1,000, maybe? Wait.
9 million?
I think it's more. There's an apostrophe after 955.
That's not 9 million, I think. That's 9 million.
Yeah, probably 9,555,000 or something. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Maybe we should switch up the format of this show.
I mean, it'd have to be Lexi doing that stuff because they're not going to look at you and me, bro.
They won't see my overweight body playing with seafood.
They won't see mine either.
There's got to be a market for it somewhere. dad bod? No.
Oh, I'm sure they exist, but we don't have the dad bod that people would like Google search for. You know
I see. Oh, damn it. Mm-hmm. Foiled again.
I'm sure the number isn't 0, but the number isn't 9 million is my point.
It's somewhere between 0 and 9 million.
Yeah. Probably closer to 1,000 and 0. All right.
Have you seen any movies lately? Anything cool? I know I saw you did the I got the alert. Oh, King of Brooklyn, which I enjoyed.
King of who?
King of Brooklyn. King of Staten Island.
Oh, okay. You saw it?
I did.
Talk about that?
Yeah, we didn't talk about it, but I did see it. It's that comedian.
Yeah. We just I just released the show today.
That's what I was saying. I saw your update.
Mm-hmm.
I like that movie.
Didn't the main guy remind you of Joe?
Maybe to a point.
Yeah, well, no, I mean not like his actions or anything, but like the tattoos, the lankiness, the way he looks like he hasn't slept for days. Sometimes the way he talked to were similar.
I could see it probably.
The way he complained seems very similar to me.
Why isn't it focusing?
Because you have a weird background.
It's the background. Yeah,
the background.
I'm holding my hand up, and you can barely.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. Yeah. Yeah, so I like that movie. We watched. There's a new Netflix movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah. It's called. I saw it. I put it on my list. I haven't seen it.
Higher Power or Power Up or some shit.
Sounds fun. Yeah, that's like a lot of drug that makes people into superpowers. Like
but they could only be superheroes for 5 minutes.
Yeah, apparently. Mm-hmm.
And then it wears off. It was pretty okay. It was pretty okay.
I haven't seen it yet. It looks like a throwaway movie, but I still want to check it out. I saw my first post-COVID movie.
What?
It's a movie about it's a horror movie. Ooh. It's about a Zoom meeting, actually. The whole movie looks like a Zoom meeting, and they're in quarantine, and they talk about being in quarantine and face masks and everything. It's like part of the story.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's actually very very succinct. It's like it comes in and out. It's 55 minutes long. It's a nice fucking short movie. It's a very nice movie.
What's it called?
Host.
Oh, I think I've seen like...
Yeah, The Host maybe, or Host. It's on Shudder. You can check it out there. I saw it there yesterday.
I just wrote it down. I will check it out.
Yeah, check it out. It's 55 minutes long, like less than a full episode of some show, because it's a one-off, and it's like clearly like student filmmakers. Maybe I'm not sure who made it. And they did like a paranormal, like attacking kind of Zoom meeting thing. They do a seance online through Zoom, and they accidentally like invite some demonic presence into each of their homes. And it's really cool. Yeah, it's good. Check it out.
All right. Mm-hmm. Devs, finished that.
Oh, you finished Devs? I haven't finished it yet. I'm 2 episodes left still.
It's a good show.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. It's really good so far for me.
Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, great job.
Thank you.
Very interesting stuff. It flowed very well.
Thank God.
You were saying it in your voice. You know what I mean by your voice?
Yes. I do try to write
your voice, yes.
I do try to write it that way, because it's also hard to say something in my voice that isn't written in it. Like if I'm reading something and then I translate it into my own voice in the moment, it's kind of harder. You kind of catch yourself in mistakes more. But this time I reread this thing like 3-4 times out loud, so that way I can familiarize myself, especially some.
Yeah, I thought you were talking to yourself earlier today.
Yeah, it was.
No, that's great. You could tell. This one sounded much more as Oscar.
I expect that it'll be better as I do it more.
But it rang a bell. I think it was on a show or it was just us talking, but I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely happened, I think, before we started doing the show or around that time. So.
Well, it's like my dad back in the 80s. He always talked about he wanted to invent a gym shoe that blew up around your foot. You could fill it with air to give you more support and comfort. And then Reebok came out with the pump like 6 months later.
Oh, you're kidding.
Back in the day. Yeah.
Sucks.
He was mad. I remember he was mad.
Yeah, no, I've been mad too. I would say, I mean, Lexi has seen me do this. Rolf, Lexi, and Luke are probably the top 3 people I see movies the most with. And James may be a good 4th. And it used to be you, Jay, but we don't hang out anymore. But besides that, we used to do movie nights. My point.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I would watch a movie or a commercial, not commercial, usually a trailer for a movie or something, or like whatever, and they'll have the premise of the movie. I'm like, hey, I thought of that fucking story 20 years ago. And I'd be like, that fucking stole my idea. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
I'm like,
right.
God damn it. Now I can't do that one. You know, I feel unoriginal, but really, not you got to come to face, like when it comes to fiction writing, is that nothing is original really. Everything has been thought of under the sun. Elon Musk is not the first to say simulation. It's not even the first in 3 millennia. It's been thought of way before.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Everything has been. Now, in the memories of the current humanity, that's a different story. People may forget things, but everything has happened. It's like Murphy's Law, right? Yeah. So I, nowadays when I see that, I'm like, God damn it. I don't actually get angry anymore, like the way your father does about the shoe. But I used to get mad about it. I used to get really mad when I would like see a story of mine like unfold that someone else made. I'm like, go fuck yourselves. Jesus Christ.
Brother of the show.
Voicemail. Oh, can you play the voicemail?
Oscar, could you play the voicemail? Yeah.
Right. And I did.
Yes, you did.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, you did. So I'll come back and then.
No, that was coming back. I just say and I just did. Oh. So I played it already, and I'll just say and I just did play it.
Oh, okay. You'll come back then. Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
Let me just take a vape. Actually, fucking drunk ass. Look at you drowning that shit.
Me too. Hold on.
Lexi, look at. Let's all do it. All right.
All right. Wait, on the count of 3. Ready?
Jesus Christ.
1, 2. Vape. Oh, Lexi's drinking. I didn't know you were drinking.
It's sparkling grape juice.
Oh, it's not real.
I am a child.
What are you, 10?
Don't say that.
Yeah. No. All right, ready? 3, 2.
Bottle.
We're vaping across time and space.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
Oh, Lex.
Are you sure you don't want to play video?
Oh, you got me. She just took that bottle. She's gonna pop. She's gonna pop. It's gonna burst. It's gonna burst.
Honey, don't think about boogers.
That was funny.
Yeah. She's doing it again. I'm trying to get you to spill it all over the camera.
Are you on the iPad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, let me ask you something before we start back. Let me know. Can you hear me if I do this? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can?
Yeah.
You can hear all that? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. There's a mute button on this thing, but it doesn't seem to work.
No, I mean, if you were pressing it, I didn't hear any interruption.
No, I'm saying you heard me, though. The whole point is you were supposed to not hear me.
Yeah, no, I heard you.
Well, that's a failed experiment. All right. You ready to come back?
Yeah.
I mean, this is just for the voicemail, okay? We're not, like, taking the actual break yet, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Paying attention to me.
The fuck do you want?
I was attacking my hair. You don't even care. I
don't give a flying fuck a do about your hair.
I do.
I don't.
Give a flying fuck.
Fuck a do.